Hey, so just a few hours ago, I had the chance to check out the Oppo Find N, which is its latest foldable smartphone and its first foldable smartphone. This has been 4 years in the making, and it sort of borrowed everything that was good about all the foldable smartphones we've seen in the past and then brought this to the market. Now, I've had the chance to check out pretty much every single foldable that's been out there, straight from the Galaxy Fold all the way down to the Oppo Find N. And I've got to say, the Oppo Find N is the best one I've tried. And let me tell you why that's the case. Number one, and I think this is where the majority of my opinion is sort of stemmed from, which is form factor. I think the form factor of the Oppo Find N is absolutely crucial in making sure that this device goes mainstream. Now, on the front, you're looking at a 5.49-inch OLED display. This is an 18:9 panel, and it's a 60 hertz panel. So there's nothing too, high-end about it. The only thing high-end about the exterior panel is that you get obviously Corning Gorilla Glass Victus protection for that all-round durability all across the board, and a 32 megapixel camera on the front as well, off to the side, just like how Oppo smartphones have it. But what's really cool about the overall build and overall form factor is that it's really, really nice in the hand. So it's sort of like the iPhone 13 mini from Apple, where you don't feel like it's a large phone. And I think many people nowadays want to go for a smartphone that isn't too big in the hand, and that way Oppo's addressed this perfectly. The other thing that I want to say is that even in its closed form factor, there's no sort of this length to the phone or no top heaviness to the phone. It feels completely natural in the hand, and this is something that I mentioned in my Galaxy Z Fold 3 review a couple of months ago, where I talked about how that narrow form factor really made typing difficult on that exterior display. Well, on this smartphone, it's really, really nice to type on, and I think this is the form factor that many smartphone manufacturers should start to adopt if they're going for foldable smartphones. But that's not really the full story of the entire smartphone, because when you open it up, you get a 7.1-inch OLED panel. This is a 120 hertz panel with ultra thin glass, so you've got that protection, the same sort of protection you have on the Galaxy Z Fold 3. But you've also got this new flexure hinge, which I don't know if this is a new hinge or it's just an adaptation that Oppo's made for the Oppo Find N. I'm not quite sure, but whatever they've done to the hinge, the display doesn't have any visible crease to it. Now, if you really look hard enough, you will see some sort of creasing, especially when the display is off, but whenever the display is turned on, at any angle, it's really, really hard to find a crease. So this is a notable improvement from the Galaxy Z Fold 3 or any other foldable we've seen in the past. So once again, Oppo's sort of nailed this one, and again, they've learned from all of these foldables that we've seen in the past and made sure that their foldable doesn't repeat the same mistakes. Okay, so there's a few technical terms that Oppo refers to when it's talking about the inner display. They call it the serene display, which means it's an LTPO panel, 1 to 120 hertz, and you can definitely notice the difference between the exterior and the interior panel. Of course, to me, the 60 hertz on the outside is a downgrade from the Galaxy Z Fold 3, but with this being a first generation product, I can accept that. There's also no sort of IPX8 rating that you find on the Galaxy Z Fold 3, nor do you find things like S Pen support. But again, it just boils down to how the device feels in the hand, which is selling it for me. Now, on the back of the smartphone is where you find a triple camera setup. This is a 50 megapixel Sony IMX766 sensor alongside a 16 megapixel as well as a 13 megapixel sensor. The 16 megapixel is the ultra wide and the 13 megapixel is the telephoto lens with optical zoom as well. So you get this sort of premium experience in the camera department as well, which is nice to see. There's also a 32 megapixel camera on the interior, sort of the inside display. So there's no under display cameras like you find on the Galaxy Z Fold 3. But I'm comparing it to the Galaxy Z Fold 3 because that's sort of the helm of a foldable smartphone at the moment. And I think with the Oppo Find N, it's currently available only in China, but if it does go international, which I presume it will over the next couple of months, I think this form factor, especially with the build quality and durability that this phone is promoting, you can definitely see this becoming the more favored choice for many, many people who want to adopt a foldable smartphone in the future. If you go back to the Galaxy Z Fold 3 this year, Samsung focused a lot on software optimization for its large form factor, going from a smartphone to a tablet, making sure multitasking was there and it worked perfectly. And with the Oppo Find N, you get a similar suite of applications, a similar software experience, which is thanks to ColorOS and Android 11. ColorOS might not be for everyone, but it does give you things like running multiple applications together, running floating windows, and all of that, taking advantage of the power on board. You get the Qualcomm Snapdragon 888 processor, 12GB of RAM, and up to 512GB of UFS 3.1 storage. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to take advantage of all of these software features because I literally got maybe around an hour with the device, but one feature that I found really cool was Flex Form mode. This is similar to Flex mode on the Galaxy Z Fold 3, and it does the same thing where you can prop up the Oppo Find N like a laptop on a surface and use it that way for, recording things using a, tripod-like setup. But the really cool aspect about this is when you sort of close the Oppo Find N almost to the point where it's absolutely closed, you'll notice that the viewfinder moves to the bottom screen to make sure that it stays convenient for you to film. And I think that small attention to detail is great from Oppo, and I'm looking forward to trying out more of these software features. Now, the one thing I want to mention is that when you're closing the device, you also notice that in terms of hardware, this thing is absolutely closed. There's no gap in the middle. So that's another engineering trait that Oppo's sort of one-upped Samsung and pretty much any other foldable smartphone out there on the market. So yeah, that's pretty much all of my experience with the Oppo Find N. As far as the battery on the smartphone is concerned, you're looking at a 4,500 milliamp hour cell. It supports 33 watt flash charging, so a 0 to 100% charge in about 70 minutes and a 0 to 50% in about 30 minutes. That's what Oppo is claiming. You also get 15 watt wireless charging support and 10 watt reverse wireless charging support for charging your peripherals, things like your earbuds, etc. But yeah, that's my experience with the Oppo Find N. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. If you want to see more videos about the Oppo Find N, definitely let me know. I'll try to get my hands on it sometime whenever it comes out to the UAE. It's priced at $1,299, and this is pricing that is coming straight from China. So I'm not sure if this is going to translate to this region in the UAE, but hopefully in the next couple of months we'll find out, and I'll let you guys know whenever I get it. Thanks for watching. This was Vaibhav, and I'll see you in the next one. Adios.